Damian Wayne, different things like that. Thankfully for us, this doesn't happen. Lois Lane grabs his son, yanks him back in, throws him in the panic room, and locks the door because she herself is starting to manifest into Doomsday. Now keep in mind, the reason why this matters is because it seems as though Devastator Batman is unique unto himself. Is basically a being built for death and destruction. That's all he is. That's all he wants to do. And so the implication here is that where Bruce Wayne has this Doomsday strain injected into himself, it allows him to control it.
They smell worse when they go down.
They won't be that lucky. They'll basically just become a variant of Doomsday, and all they're going to do is just tear things to pieces. But this is crazy because it's basically this idea that Devastator Batman says that's the point of all this. I'm doing this tuning fork, whisking it off to Barbados. It's him essentially saying this world is going to come to grips with the fact that Superman is not their savior. Because what's going to happen is while all this is going on, while all these people are being transformed, while the world is burning down around them, they're going to look up and they're going to say, where's Superman? And with Superman nowhere to be found, they're going to lose hope. They're going to lose faith. And so when Superman returns, assuming that everything goes back to normal, they'll turn their backs on us. That's what Devastator Batman is hoping for. And so again, it's interesting and it's really intriguing because what happens at the end of this origin, this runs directly into Dark Knight's Metal 3, 4, 5, and 6. It runs into this idea of the events that follow with Barbados having this tuning fork and using his cosmic energies to achieve whatever it is that ends up coming next.
You need to tell them you ready to come home. You ready to have her home.
All these one-shots are so amazing in terms of like giving us these evil versions of Batman. So the cool thing about this is that this centers on what's actually Batwoman. It is a person by the name of Bryce Wayne. And so it's kind of interesting because what this does is it initially picks up with the idea that Bryce was in a relationship with a person named Sylvester Kyle. Now, we're not explicitly told who Sylvester Kyle is. We're just kind of told that this person was the love interest of Bryce Wayne at the time. But unlike the other, one-shots that we've seen so far, this one actually picks up after Bryce has already arrived in the main DC universe. Now, one thing to keep in mind is all these one-shots spin out of Dark Knight's Metal number 2, which is one of the things that we're going to reference once we cover that story. But the origin story is still standalone. But her arriving in Amnesty Bay, which is basically one of the home bases of operations of Fury and Aquaman, leads her into direct conflict with Aquaman and with Mira. Now, we will get the whole backstory, but one thing that I want to talk about here for a second is the nature of Amnesty Bay. When it comes to the Aquaman mythos, there is Atlantis, and then there's Amnesty Bay. Atlantis is the kingdom of Atlantis. This is basically Aquaman's birthright, for the most part, in the sense that he was born as the heir to Atlantis himself. However, he was raised in Amnesty Bay, and that's why he has this sort of dichotomy between a loyalty to the Justice League and somewhat to the protection of the world overall, but loyalty to Atlantis. Because for him, it's very much like Thor. Thor's like, okay, look, yes, I'm a Avenger, yada, 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 but Asgard first, everything else second. If it comes down to it, I will abandon Earth and I will go only to Asgard and rule as king because that's my job, that's what I do first. Aquaman's much the same way. The other half of that is that Aquaman will protect both with an absolute fury. Woe betide the poor soul who shows up in Atlantis starting trouble. But the whole backstory to this comes by way of the explanation of Bryce Wayne herself, in the sense that somewhere along the line, the various metahumans on Earth -11 and her own reality in the Dark Multiverse, somewhere along the line, they had killed Sylvester Kyle. Now, we don't know why. We're kind of left to believe maybe that they were criminals or something along those lines, because the implication is that Bryce, as Batwoman, was a crime fighter. She fought bad guys. And so the implication is that in this scenario, Sylvester was killed by some rogue metas, and in her vengeance and in her mourning, she killed everyone. And so it's basically the Batman comparison. Bruce Wayne lost his parents, she lost her husband. And so it's cool to see those two things go alongside each other because it shows the nature of grief itself. Now, the other half of this is following the death of Sylvester and the deaths of all these metahumans at the hands of Bryce herself. About 18 months after this had happened, the woman had immediately just shown up. All the metahumans are dead. We want to have peace talks. We want to come to peace with the service world itself. Now, again, this is another aspect that we're not really given. In the main DC universe, Atlanteans aren't really like xenophobic so much as they are retreatists, in the sense that they're basically like, you stay away, we stay away, everything will be fine. But for Bryce, because of the fact that she had experienced such a traumatic loss, much like Batman, who doesn't trust anybody but himself, she doesn't trust anybody but herself. And in her mind, she believed that Atlantis was pulling a ruse. That Atlantis had seen the deaths of all the metahumans and had said, hearken alas, no one can protect the surface world if we choose to invade.
I am the king of corpse killers.
Start going to war, there'll be casualties on both sides. So we'll play it diplomatic at first, and then when they're at their weakest, we'll conquer. Bryce believed that was the case. And so in her anger, ultimately the peace talks fell to pieces.
will
that
clear
the
path
response
to the
of
jungle of
Atlanteans
the
to the
dead.
death of their queen was to drown the entirety of Gotham City. This pushed Bryce even further. And so I hope you guys are starting to see a pattern here. This scenario
I will cite my
Bryce
work.
lost someone she cared about to one or more metahumans. In response, in her wrath and in her anger and in her
Contact down.
she killed them all. This in turn led to Atlantis stepping in. And
Anyone
saying,
want
"Let's
this?"
have peace talks." The peace talks fell apart. And again, in her just altered state of mind, not rationally thinking, she just waged war against everybody. And so ultimately, this leads to her modifying her body on the genetic level, giving herself all kinds of alterations, basically making herself an Atlantean, but in turn modifying her existing abilities. For example, when it comes to the concept of Batman, we're largely left to believe that he's just a really, really good fighter. I mean, that's really what Batman is. He's a normal guy that's just really good at fighting. He knows all these different martial arts, things like that. With Bryce, we're left to believe that's the same way. We're just kind of left to believe that she's just a woman who's really capable. Making these modifications to her body means she's taking the war directly to Atlantis, and when she does, she has to be able to fight on their battlefield. It's the perfect complement to Sun Tzu's The Art of War. If you have to wage a war on your terms. But if you have to wage a war on their terms, be prepared. And that's exactly what she does. She basically starts modifying her body with these genetic modifications. She gives herself the ability to breathe underwater. She can move faster than any of the Atlanteans. She's pushed herself to the absolute brink. And so when the time comes, not only was she able to wage war against Atlantis and basically kill all the Atlanteans, she had done so with the help of what's called the
Shoot up,
Death Star,
listen.
basically her own genetically modified forces that can in turn serve on her behalf. Now the implication here, and the way this seems to be pointed, is that somewhere along the line, she had basically started capturing forces, bolstering her numbers,
Two at once.
modifying them genetically. We're not explicitly told that, but it looks like these are just
down.
twisted versions of Atlanteans. And so the result is that she basically used Atlanteans, assuming that she did anyway, to destroy Atlanteans, ultimately killing off the entire Atlantic community and then taking up residence in Atlantis herself. Following this, she drowned the entire world, killed everybody on Earth, just destroyed everybody on Earth. It's absolutely bonkers in terms of how it comes out. And so in response to this, should there have been anybody out there who was wayward, anybody out there who was looking for solace, she put up a beacon in the sky to show them where to go. Now this gets into the true and really the terrifying nature of Bryce herself, in the sense that that beacon was not done for altruistic purposes. She did that so that anybody who came across her path, they would be added to her roster of soldiers. They would become another member of her army. They would be genetically modified, and they would be transformed into one of her own. But in the middle of all this, and at some point later on down the line, the beacon suddenly went off. And when it did, she was met with the Man Who Laughs. Now, the Man Who Laughs, in my opinion, is one of the most anticipated origin stories in all of Dark Knight's Metal. I am so looking forward to that. And I think a lot of people are. Like, a lot of people are really excited for the Man Who Laughs. And there's so many theories, because the best theory I've seen so far is that the Man Who Laughs comes from a universe where Batman actually killed the Joker during the events of the Killing Joke, and then Batman became the Joker. That's the best theory that I've heard. I think it's the most popular one going around the internet right now. But, very rarely do I ever see a theory take hold like this. I saw it with Mr. Oz, saw it with The Watchmen. DC Rebirth is just setting the world on fire with the stories they're writing. Jesus Christ, it's amazing. But the fact remains here, with regards to Bryce showing up and facing off against Aquaman and Mira, you have Mira with her, aquakinesis, the ability to manipulate water using her mind. But it's almost like the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet versus Thanos with the Heart of the Universe concept, in the sense that with the Infinity Gauntlet, Thanos was manipulating the universe itself. With the Heart of the Universe, he was the universe. And that's exactly what's happening here. Where Mira is able to, psychically manipulate the water, Bryce is the water. Like, she just controls it. It's like an arm or a leg. It's an inherent part of who she is. Now, all this is designed to do is basically say that Bryce's control over water is stronger than Mira's control over water. That's all that means. I mean, it doesn't mean that Bryce is actually made of water. It just means that her control is far more powerful than Mira's is. But the significance of this is that it gives us a character that overpowers both Aquaman and Mira. And this is a big deal, because remember, when it comes to Aquaman, he can stand toe-to-toe to Superman. I mean, we saw that in Aquaman Rebirth. Like, we saw that in that first story. He went toe-to-toe with Superman and held his own. So it's not like Aquaman's just a really strong guy who talks to fish. Not at all. This guy is a wrecking crew. He's a one-man army. And so to have someone from, to have this Bryce chick genetically modify herself and then show up and not only beat a guy who amounts to an underwater version of Superman and then crush his wife who controls water is insane, because it means this person is not someone to be trifled with. Not only that, the idea of a person becoming a dead water is basically an action that's undertaken by by Bryce herself when she physically transforms the body of Mira. Now, I would argue this is not a permanent thing, that the process can most likely be reversed, especially if it's just an alteration to the chemical structure of the body. But the fact remains, Mira is effectively a henchman of Bryce now, and that's how this unfolds, because it leads to Aquaman seeming to be the last man standing in the face of Bryce. All her Deadwater soldiers and Mira having been transformed into one, which leads, as it always does with these one-shots, with Dr. Fate intervening. Now again, Dr. Fate is a character that predates Doctor Strange by quite a bit, but the characters were effectively always the same in terms of how they function and what they do. What Dr. Fate is doing here is really more akin to what Doctor Strange was doing during Infinity Gauntlet. But the fact remains that Dr. Fate's basically grabbing these various heroes who are encountering these dark nights and then risking them over to save them so they can remuster their forces and then go back into the onslaught again to plan ahead. And so that's effectively what happens. This symbol is sent out into the sky by Bryce in order to attract anybody who's either curious or looking for some kind of refuge of some sort, and then ultimately bolster her own army using those individuals. So again, another origin story, another Dark Knight cropping up, another character with an extreme level of power who's basically able to dominate some of the most powerful heroes in DC Comics. And so again, it's cool. You know, if I can get my hands on a copy of the cover that's big enough, or if I can like blow it up in Photoshop without losing too much quality, I think I'm going to make posters out of the covers for the Dark Knight's Metal tie-ins, because these are amazing. Oh my god, dude. Murder Machine, man, dude, it is. God is beast. This is an amazing story. Okay, so like all the other Dark Knight's Metal tie-ins that we've done, this comes out of issue number 2. Really, well, issue number 1 and issue number 2. But the stories themselves, the origins themselves, are still standalone in the sense that they're basically just the stories of how these evil versions of Batman came to be. But the whole idea here is that this centers on this amazing version of Batman. So this initially picks up with Victor Stone, right, with Cyborg. And the only thing this really ties into in terms of the Dark Knight's Metal is just the idea that Victor Stone's father is really just kind of analyzing this idea of this nth metal. Again, this metal that everybody's aware of, or everybody's basically learning about, that kind of resonates with another plane of existence. Now, in the middle of Vic basically talking with his dad, he's suddenly met by the arrival of Murder Machine. And that's kind of the cool thing about this, is unlike the other origin stories so far, for the most part, they follow a linear progression. You have like one of these evil versions of Batman that shows up and then fights someone, and then you jump into the origin story. With this one, it actually kind of bounces back and forth in between the two. But the way that this works is that this version of Batman hails from Earth -44 in the Dark Multiverse. And it's this idea that in this reality, that the various villains of Batman's rogues gallery, you know, Killer Croc and Harley Quinn and, you know, Two-Face, were basically all led by Bane in a campaign to find out where Batman was. They effectively broke into the Batcave and then just tortured Alfred and then eventually killed him. Keep in mind, Alfred's not just a butler for the Wayne family. Alfred is Bruce Wayne's surrogate father. That's the role he's always played when it came to the various stories of Batman, whether it's an alternate reality story, whether it's the main DC universe. It's always been Batman's parents were shot in a dark alley and a mugging gone wrong, and Alfred basically raised him as a son. And so to have Alfred stripped away from Batman, he effectively crosses this line he can't come back from psychologically. Because for Batman, for Bruce Wayne, he lost his biological father, which motivated him to become Batman. Then he loses Alfred, his surrogate father. What comes next? Well, you do the only thing you can do. You try to find a way to cope. And with the idea of Bruce Wayne, what he did is he basically went to Cyborg and said, I backed up Alfred's mind once upon a time, and I would like to turn him into an AI because I can't do it on my own. Now, this is just Bruce Wayne grieving, right? I mean, that's the beauty of this whole thing. It is him basically reliving his own father's death. But there's an out. That's the beauty of it. He's like, there's a way for me to save Alfred. And it's not Bruce Wayne doing it because he's just like, oh, I'm so used to Alfred, I have to have him around. It's basically his dad. It's his surrogate father. Alfred is the voice of reason. Alfred is the one Bruce Wayne goes to when he throws his hands in the air and says, I don't know what to do next. Am I really even making any progress saving Gotham City? Alfred is the reassurance. Alfred is the one that says, all you can do is the best you can. And as long as you think that you're doing things the right way, as long as you are living up to what your father would believe is an admirable role, then follow the path that you're currently on. Alfred is the bedrock by which the entire moral compass of Bruce Wayne is built. To have that taken away, and then to have a momentary second where he can get that back, he'll do anything to make that happen. And that's what we end up finding out. In this massive fight between, you know, Victor Stone and Murder Machine, the entire time, it's basically Murder Machine saying, in my universe, you're the one that made it possible. You're the one that helped me to become who I am. But what we end up learning is that when the AI, or when the Alfred AI was completed, the AI immediately went Skynet. It just went off Skynet. It lost its mind. Alfred becomes Skynet. What a title. But the whole idea is that the Alfred AI basically went awry. It went nuts, and it started going through creating physical copies of itself, or at least these kind of nanotech copies of itself, and started hunting down every single member of Batman's rogues gallery, every single enemy that he has. It started eliminating them. This is a beautiful scenario to behold. I mean, not the death of Bane. I mean, it's not, a beautiful thing that he was killed by the AI, but the logic behind it is what's so beautiful about it. Batman is, by definition, about as logical and reasonable as a being can get in the DC universe. Batman, I wouldn't say, is devoid of emotion, but the emotions he has, he keeps at bay. And so I would make a legitimate argument that Batman is actually more machine than man, just because of the fact that he seems so emotionless, he's so cold and calculating. But in this instance, it's his emotions come to bear, his desire to get his surrogate father back. When Cyborg, alert -44, shows up and says, this AI is going crazy and is killing people, we have to shut it down, Batman's response is, no, we can make it better. We can make it work. We can make it do what it's supposed to. And that's the beauty of all this, is because it's him essentially sitting down and saying, I don't want to let him go. The other half of this is that the AI itself is basically programming. The AI is not inherently evil. It is an artificial intelligence that's built on ones and zeros. In this particular instance, the AI was programmed to carry out the desires of Alfred. Alfred's most base desire was to keep Bruce Wayne safe. And so the programming is doing the most logical thing, keep Bruce Wayne safe. Well, the most dangerous thing to Bruce Wayne are his enemies. Bane broke his back in Nightfall. All the enemies that Batman has seek to eliminate him. So the most logical thing to do to protect Bruce Wayne is to get rid of his enemies. It makes perfect sense if you're a computer. And that's the basis behind this. Alfred was effectively brought back by Bruce Wayne. Alfred was resurrected in the form of an artificial intelligence. But the one thing that the Alfred AI doesn't have that differentiates a machine from a human is a soul. The ability to understand that things are not ones and zeros, that they're nuanced, that there is no such thing as black and white, that there's black and white and then a zillion shades of gray. And so because of that, because of the fact that this AI doesn't grasp that, at the end of the day, it does what's logical and it does what's reasonable. But for Bruce Wayne himself, he's emotional. Under normal circumstances, any reasonable person who is as logical as this computer system would say, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, this computer's, executing people and Batman doesn't abide by that. Batman doesn't tolerate that. We have to shut it down. Bruce Wayne's response of saying, we can fix it, we can make it better, faster than it was before, is his emotions. But there's no guarantee that this will work. But that's the beauty of it, is because while the Dark Multiverse is the opposite of what we would expect from the main DC universe, it's opposite in both its physical structure and its opposite in function. And so in this instance, we end up finding out that the goal of Cyborg was to shut down the AI before it can spread any further. Bruce Wayne wanted to fix it. Letting it into the Batcave, the AI immediately latched itself onto Bruce Wayne and started modifying his genetic structure, effectively turning him into a machine, turning him into a robot. And that's kind of the irony of all this, is because it's not until Batman in the Earth -44 universe becomes this villain that exists according to codes and machines that he becomes almost identical to in the main DC universe. And it hits home to the idea that Batman's almost inhuman in terms of how cold and calculating that he is. But in response to the Earth -44 Batman merging with the Alfred AI and basically going on this rampage, it results in Cyborg gathering the Justice League and then Murder Machine killing them all. Every last one. The Green Lantern, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, the whole 9 yards. Every last one of them falls with this Murder Machine making all these duplicate copies of himself, attacking cities until Cyborg's the only one left. And where Cyborg in the Earth -44 universe simply responds by saying, I know there's still some human part of you that's in there. I know there's still some part of you that feels emotion, that's still reasonable. You have to listen. We can bring you back. Murder Machine Batman's response is, but why though? Like, I'm happy where I am. I'll never have to worry about losing Alfred again. He and I are one. We're combined into the same mind. We function according to the same rules and wants. I've gotten what I wanted out of this. Now, that's the cool thing about that, is because this juxtaposes directly to the main DC Universe Batman. One of the biggest issues that, like, the various members of the Bat family bring up time and time again, that the writers always focus on, is it's his way or the highway. It's what he wants to do, and then nothing else matters as long as he gets what it is that he wants. Superheroes have that issue with Batman. We saw that in terms of all the secrecy. We saw that in terms of all the cloak and dagger stuff that he pulls in the Tower of Babel, when we learned that Batman had this database on how to defeat the members of the Justice League and never told them about it. And so again, this whole idea of Batman being twisted, being sinister in this capacity is almost like an outward
where did they go?
Data suggests they traveled to the dimension. So ultimately, he kills the Earth -44 version of Cyborg. Results in, of course, the man who last popping up and simply saying, we
And
can
the
make
other
everything
wipes are
better.
in the
Your
kitchen on the
your
counter.
universe is coming to an end, but I know a place, I know of a universe where we can basically take over everything. We can conquer it and move in an outward direction. Of course, all of this basically being done at the request of Barbados. So it's
Ask me what a
only
wipe to that.
being recruited, like all the others, by the man who laughs at the request of Barbados. It's super cool in terms of how all this comes together and how it functions. But notice where, you know, this version of Cyborg from the main DC universe is just easily taken out by all these different versions of Batman. It's cool to see this happen because at the end of the day, Cyborg isn't whisked away by Dr. Fate. He's not suddenly yanked out and say, oh man, we need you. He's basically left there. Now, of course, he's taken prisoner by the Dark Knights of Barbados and probably going to be used for some future project. But again, this is probably one of the best origin stories that I've seen come out of Dark Knight's Metal. It is nothing short of spectacular. My God, this is one of the best stories I ever read. There's no two ways about it. There's no arguing with that point. This is amazing. It's hands down one of the absolute best stories I've ever read. I mean, you guys need to go out and buy this.
I'm glad you
It
got
is super
it.
good. Man, I'm gonna tell you something, dude. Dude, this story. Dude, this story. Man, this story is so good. You know, every once in a while you come across a Batman story. James Tynion's, man, dude, this guy. Man, dude, man. Okay, let's get into this. Let's explain the Batman who left. Alright, first things first, y'all need to go out to the store and buy this comic because it's like $3. Dude, it's crazy how good this comic is. You guys gotta go buy this thing because it's absolutely insane. Like it is definitely one of my favorites. But the cool thing about this is that this opens up with the Batman who laughs himself. The Batman who laughs is jumping into like terror.
There's much
But
killing
the
to be
cool thing
done.
is that the way that it's done, you know, with my lack of knowledge about heroes, the way that it's done is it highlights the nature of the Joker, right? About how the Joker is insane. The Joker's crazy, but the Joker's always, you know, also one of those wild cards that can shift up everything in its entirety. So what it does is it switches to Earth -22, which is, you know, quite some time ago. And the cool thing about this is Joker has Batman captive. Now, we've seen this a million times before. That's one of the crazy things about this, is a lot of the stuff that unfolds here, for the most part, it's par for the course. It's just Batman defeating the Joker. The crazy thing about this is the Joker in this universe seems to be experiencing a level of insanity that we've never seen before. And the reason I mean that is because, in truth, like historically speaking, if you look at the history of the Joker in DC Comics, he's basically waxed and waned over the years. When he first popped up in DC, he was really dark, he was really sinister. The old Bob Kane, Bill Finger Joker was super sadistic. Then the comics code kicked in, and for something like, 60 years, the Joker was basically toned down and goofy. There was a point where he came back and he was a little dark for a while, maybe in like the 60s or 70s. That was about it. I mean, when you go and read most Joker comics, he's nonsensical, he's goofy. The Joker that we got in Scott Snyder's new 52 run of Batman, Death of the Family, Endgame, though that's the Joker that's just reminiscent to the old school Joker that we saw way back in, the 1930s. But the crazy thing about this is that with Joker having seemed to emotionally snap, not only has he captured Batman, he kills the family of a girl, and then in turn exposes the girl to the Joker toxin. So it's pretty intense because it's basically his goons, his henchmen, that have all these families lined up in Gotham City, waiting for the Joker to do them in. Because all the Joker's doing is repeating Batman's history. Now, there's something that I hope you notice about this. The kind of thing that Joker says, I can break anybody, I realized what was going on one day. Jim Gordon tried to get into the way, and then of course I made Jim Gordon break. This is very reminiscent of The Killing Joke. For those of you guys who never read The Killing Joke, that was a story where it was the whole point Joker was thinking was that all it takes is one bad day. One bad day and a person can be broken. That was the origin story of the Joker back in the day. And a lot of people still say it is the Joker's origin because DC has really kind of hinted at that being the case for the most part over the years. But the whole idea was that the Joker was just a guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He'd lost his job, he fell in with some mobsters who promised easy money. He had a wife and a kid on the way, so the temptation for that easy money was very, very high. He ultimately agreed to the demand. Batman, he fell into a vat, and when he emerged, his hair was green, his face was white, and his lips were red, and he lost his mind. And that's the point of The Killing Joke. All it ever takes is one bad day. And the goal of the Joker was to break Commissioner Gordon by basically injuring his daughter, and then in turn subjecting him to photos of her while he was sending Jim Gordon through this horrific roller coaster, and then to try to do the same thing with Batman. The story ended ambiguously. It ended with the question, did Batman kill the Joker? Did Batman let him go? Grant Morrison argued that Batman killed the Joker. I think it was one, but the writer, Alan Moore, has never said either way. And so in truth, there's no definitive answer. It's just whatever answer it is that people want to choose to believe, which is why The Killing Joke's one of the best stories out there, because the nature of the story, the ending creates this massive argument between fans over what happened between Batman and the Joker. Batman just starts laughing, and then it says the laughing dies, and that's it. And so we don't know what ends up happening in that story. The interesting thing about this is that it is, again, an attempt of the Joker to break Batman. And it's almost like Batman's this immutable force, because where Batman says you have to stop, you have to quit, Joker's response is never. I will never, ever stop. All the things that we've seen over the years, especially recently when it came to the Joker story, in New 52, the Joker and Batman are two sides of the same coin in a lot of ways. One represents order, one represents chaos. One can't live without the other, whether it's because Batman needs the Joker in order to believe he's making some measure of progress, whether it's the Joker because he just needs order in order to inflict chaos. Whatever the case may be, they essentially need each other, and that's one of the reasons why the Joker has always been kind of a mainstay. It's like this meta commentary on the nature of good and evil. You can't have one without the other. And so in this instance, Batman manages to overpower the Joker, and in doing so, breaks his neck. He kills him. And so what this does, it just kind of allows a little bit of this Joker toxin to basically make its way out, and that's really about it. Nothing really seems to come of the death of the Joker. So what we do from here is we pick up with this aftermath. Batman talking to Superman, the idea that a lot of these kids who have been subjected to Joker's toxin and really just kind of have their minds broken, that there may not be any way to bring them back. And that's the case that Batman makes. There's no coming back from this. For these kids, there's probably no way to cure them. Now, of course, Superman being hopeful basically says, look, there has to be a way. We have to find a way. What this does is it picks up about 3 days later with the Bat family, Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon and so on and so forth, and they're basically just training. And it's kind of cool because they're facing off against robots, but again, this is one of the interesting scenarios because they make the comment that it's been years since they've experienced this. And in truth, it's been years since we've seen it in the Batman comics because remember, that's the way Batman works. Batman brings in these kids. He brings in Barbara Gordon, he brings in Dick Grayson, he brings in Jason Todd. Over the course of his existence as Batman, Bruce Wayne brings these characters in for a multitude of different reasons. Sometimes it's because, they lost their parents in the same way Bruce Wayne did, and so he basically adopts them, trains them to learn how to get revenge to a degree, but also how to stop crime, make Gotham a safer city. It's Batman surrounding himself with possible replacements should anything ever happen to him. It's one of the reasons why every single one of the members of the Bat family have been trained in a way that makes them almost as good as Batman is in terms of a detective, almost as good as a fighter, the whole 9 yards. Because of that, the whole thing begins to sort of unwind when Dick Grayson makes the comment, things aren't right, because it's been years since they've been subjected to training, by Batman in their whole, training room. And it's also been a while since Batman's basically communicated directly with them. For the most part, the indication here is that it's all been behind like screens or it's been smoke and mirrors. And when they sit down and they talk with Batman, Batman's answer is, when Joker died, he infected me with something. He infected me with a perfect strain of the Joker toxin. Now, this is the cool thing about this, because remember, on the surface, the Joker seems to be nonsense. For example, Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight Returns made the comment, I'm not a man with a plan. I'm a man who just does things. I'm a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do. So, depending on who's writing the Joker at the time, either he is that way where he's just goofy, comedic, he has no real plan, he wants to copyright fish, different things like that. Or if you're reading Scott Snyder's Joker in New 52, he does have a plan. He has this great big huge laid out plan on what he wants to do. And everything that happens seems to be chaotic, but it goes to separate the nonsense from the truth, because the truth will lead you to the plan, but it's so surrounded and so clouded with actual nonsense, there's no way to really know which is the truth and which is a lie. That's what makes the Joker so difficult to find.
This is the only way to shut them off.
Batman explains this to the Batman family. Their response is, look, we'll find a way. We'll find a way to cure you. Batman's statement is, the reason why I brought you here is because you guys would be the first ones to know if there was anything wrong with me. And if you told, if there was anything wrong with me, you would tell people, and I can't allow that. So he kills them all. He kills every last member of the Bat family. Dude, you guys never saw that coming, did you? He kills them all. Red Hood, he kills Dick Grayson. Whole 9 yards. They all get done in. From there, he takes it to the Justice League. Now, the Justice League happens offhand. We don't actually see it take place. But it is crazy to see it happen because basically everybody's been taken out by Batman except for, Superman. He's like the last man standing. Now, because of the fact that Batman's the last, because this version of Batman is really more attuned to the Joker as opposed to Bruce Wayne himself, it's not just about defeating superheroes. It's also about inflicting as much mental anguish as he possibly can. And so what happens is he actually brings the family of Superman in, Jonathan Kent and Lois Lane. What he does in turn is he not only taunts Superman, he exposes him to black kryptonite. Now, black kryptonite's one of those weird scenarios. Really, black kryptonite made its debut in comic book form in Supergirl #2 in 2005. But if you go and you look at the history of black kryptonite, as far as I'm aware, it originally appeared in Smallville. Now, black kryptonite in Smallville was a plot device more than anything else. And what they did is they basically established that you can split a being in two, one good, one evil. Basically split their personas in half. With regards to the DC Comics landscape, if you read Supergirl #2 from 2005, sure, it'll split people in half, one good, one evil. If you read All-Star Superman, it inverts the moral compass of the Kryptonian that it's used on, and then basically decreases their mental faculties. They basically become an evil version of stupid. And so that's exactly what happened with Superman. With Batman exposing Superman,
I know that
it adjusts its traditional properties of splitting a being in two, and instead inverts Superman to make him a villain, who in turn takes out Jonathan and he takes out Lois. And that's insane. And that's the crazy thing about this, because remember, it's not just about taking down Superman. It's about inflicting moral harm on Superman's psyche. Now, presumably, Superman will never be able to recover from this. He won't be able to come back from this. We never actually find out what happens. We're kind of left to believe that the Batman who laughs and takes him out. But all the other superheroes who unite against him, all the other governments who unite against him, the whole of humanity, for the most part, is all taken out and subdued by the Batman who laughs. We don't know how. But what DC seems to be doing is grabbing this concept of Bruce Wayne, who's pragmatic, who is analytical, who goes through and analyzes every single situation, and then combined it with the chaotic nature of the Joker, brought those two together and unleashed an absolute nightmare on humanity, which in turn led to the end of humanity almost in its entirety. Now, because of the fact that the Batman who laughs is so extreme, and because of the fact that he is sort of this amazing combination of the Joker and Batman merged into a singular being, he's the first to be introduced.
Y'all niggas sorry as hell. Excuse me, I just farted. I just had gas. Excuse me.
Yeah, you smell like your fucking son to
I just had gas.
I really hope that hurt.
I was on meat.
I am inside. Help!
I don't know if it's a recent video, but the Mr. Keeper Company posted this. This is crazy. A woman crying to her husband during the vows at the wedding.
What?
A woman clowning, laughing at her husband while the pastor telling her to say the vows. She laughing. And she won't even say the vows. And he's sitting there laughing like he still want to marry her.
We hit that snag about 20 times at Jones. Real made it very clear to Jones that you cannot be.
And in health.
To love,
To love.
cherish,
Cherish.
and to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in health.
You probably just playing
It's
around.
our lucky day, strike team. We have new orders
You
from the
know, some
director.
people are very
We are to shut down the dimensional breach
no
in an
matter
effort
what
to contain the spread.
situation.
Suggestions? I say we shut down the cyclotron.
I'm
Sever
pretty
the
sure she
dimensional
knew what she
connection
was
is our
signing up
best
for before
chance
she
to
decided
contain
to
the
walk
spread.
down that aisle. So if she really want to marry him, she wouldn't walk down that aisle.
Pastor, he was like, we did talk. Listen, if the pastor got mad, you know it's a problem.
We just go.
And I'm gonna say this again. If a pastor, a man that's representing great faith and patience, if the pastor got mad, you know it's a problem. Listen, for rich or for poor, she like, I'm not with that. At the end of the day, you guys have to understand a lot of men out here, you work so hard, you grind so hard, you make content, you guys work overtime, and at the end of the day, you got to
I
understand
will not help next time.
if you allow a female to act crazy, to talk crazy from the start, that's on you and that's your problem. You guys have to understand. The pastor said to submit, to obey. She said, I'm not with that. The pastor said, do you need me to repeat it again? She like, nah, let's just skip over that because she's not with that. A lot of guys, you have to love yourselves. And women, when they want to be with a certain man, whether we want to believe it or not, is a certain treatment, is a certain level of respect and admiration that that man gets. If you're not getting that certain level of respect, if you're not getting that certain level of admiration, just leave it alone. I know it's hard. I know it's men. We see what we like. And like the phrase goes, the heart wants what it wants. I understand. But you got to learn how to let it go. There are many more fishes in the sea. And for this man right here, honestly, you probably think to keep it simple. Just talking that tall, but how would you walk that walk in this situation? I would have walked out. I would have said the wedding's over because honestly, it's not about love. A lot of people in America, they take this immigration mindset and they always want to say, oh, marriage is a business. Marriage should never be a business. If marriage was a business, it would have told us in the Bible, get your ducks in a row, marriage was a business. It never said that. So if it never said that, guess what? We are not going to spread that. Bars. And I'm going to say this again. If it never said that, we're not going to spread
Where you
that.
put the bike?
Love is free. And at the end of the day,
I'm taking the good whites and giving it him, and then my
understand
little cheap ass whites. No, get them cheap ass whites and put them on his ass.
I don't have resources, so you're out here slinging packs of crack. You're out here in the studio trying to rap. You're
It's a
out here trying
pepper.
to
It's a
entertain.
pepper.
You're out here playing yourself. You're out here embarrassing yourself. You're out here doing pranks and funny
pepper.
videos to get
What?
females
It's a
that
big
don't
opener.
respect you. Listen, as a man, you should always be serious with a female. Even if she tells a joke, try not to laugh. Be
Okay, man, just use that.
Carry yourself as a man. This man was laughing while his
Or maybe I'll put
his
somewhere else.
his future wife, I don't know if they still
That's
together.
not my name.
She right, signed the papers, we went to check if she right, then go on to Magic City. At the end of the day, allegedly. At the
You don't
end of
change
the
his
day,
diaper in the kitchen?
Tomorrow. Yesterday, I came back in the room. In their room. And he's sitting.
she is playing
I'm trying to change it as fast as I can so he don't get up. He will get up.
Listen, when I found out about
It'll be
information,
everywhere.
I run to YouTube and I spread the information. I sound the alarm. Yes, I sound the alarm. This is a fire trip. Listen, when female says she's a goddess, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
C4 armed.
I don't know about all that. I don't know about the work to the ground.
want to do anything back in return for you. You go out, you pay the bills, and at the end of the day, a lot of guys are working hard to pay their bills, and they get zero respect.
No, not all females act like that.
At the end of the day, listen.
Just the ones that they put on TV, the ones that they put on the radio.
Shit, it makes
And
no
laugh like you had a
sense.
car show. How do you wear a suit and laugh like
No wonder these niggas
Will
gay.
Smith may smack Chris Rock? How are you wearing a suit and you're laughing
I feel
at
like
the
a lot of these niggas gay because of this shit.
You guys have to understand,
Who
when the
wants to
pastor
fucking
is
do
there and
that?
they getting married, he is acting as reading you the vows how things are supposed to be. When they mention for rich or for poor, she like, I'm not with that. So at the end of the day, you guys have to understand, if you only with a chick, if a chick is only with you because you got money, let it go. If a chick doesn't respect you, let it go. I understand some chicks are beautiful, you just want to hug them, you just want to caress them. Some of you guys want to do it
Some men are stupid
let's
too.
be honest,
They want a
let's be serious,
beautiful
this is how we
bitch,
grow.
bad
But at the
bitch.
end of the day,
Just one for the look.
Not a bitch that they need.
at the end of the day,
And their life is just ruined like a
look at her
motherfucker,
face.
boy.
Just stop and look at the slideshow. She is not playing. She is on a mission. She's about to get this bag and dip. She's about to get this bag and straight skirt, peel off, burn rubber. You guys have to understand, how do you embarrass your future husband at his biggest moment? Everybody who watched that, this clip went viral. My man go to work, his boss might fire him. His boss might fire him for not having backbone. He might have to file an HR case against his boss. When he goes back to work, everybody's gonna laugh. At the end of the day, this is the passive face right here. The passive is like, we did discuss this. She said, we never discussed this. Let me tell you something about counseling. You don't need counseling. You need to be the man and the leader of your household. At the end of the day, you need to run it. If you can't run it, at the end of the day, done it. Not trying to rob, but I'm going to say this one more time. If you can't run it, done it. One more time. If you can't run it, done it. Matter of fact, one more time. If you cannot run it, done it. It's over. Walk away. Give it your all. In every relationship you do, never have fear. Give it your all. And if it doesn't work out, guess what? The times that you texted and made your heart happy, enjoy that. The time that you talked on the phone and made your heart happy, enjoy that. The time you went out and you got ice cream, the time you went out and you got lobster, pasta, whatever you want to call it, enjoy that. But when it's over, it's over. And when the respect is gone, the love is gone. To me, respect equals love. Look at the passive face. The passive face, like, we did discuss this. We talk about this. You know the blueprint. You know what you got to do. And right now, you're not doing it. Not only are you messing up for your husband, but you also messing it up for me. And you also messing it up. And you're also messing up your vows. The passive felt some type of way. Look at the passive face. The passive is looking like, how can you do this after we discussed this? You guys have to understand, some people in life, they just going to play the game. And when you have money, you guys have to protect yourself. When you have money, don't let people know you have money, because when you have money, guess what? I've seen it. I've seen a guy that actually got his residency in med school and got married in 2 weeks, and he's watching this program as I'm talking about you. At the end of the day, I've seen it. The female said, oh, she was going to Miami. As soon as she found out he was a doctor, at the end of the day, case closed, legs closed, everything closed. You gotta understand, she's like, let's get married. Man got married in 2 weeks. A lot of these females, this dude right here, he laughing, he smiling from ear to ear. He probably playing with a check.
Find
And this is
major
how they
matches.
treat you when you play with
Recover
a check.
any intel you
Sometimes
can.
it ain't about respect. Now, it
Wrap
can
it
go
up.
back. It can
My
go
team has reached the village.
Listen, you can have money and a woman can still respect you, but you can have money and a female can
I will
totally
help you
disrespect
get
you.
to the
This is
Omega
why I want to show you guys the other side, because on social media, in the media, they're always going to say you, oh, look at these guys, they got the money. money, the women are opening his car doors, they're feeding them grapes, they're living in spectacular lives, but they don't show you the other side, how dudes really got degrees, how dudes really put in the work, how dudes really went through interns, how dudes really got businesses,
Point
how
my
dudes
team
really
in the right
got
direction.
real estate and
No
multiple
finance.
properties and still getting
Хорошие,
disrespected.
есть тянут. Look like
You
you're
guys
up
have to
to
understand,
understand.
that was the passive face. Now look at
Take
this
the
man's face.
teleporter
This
on the
man,
roof
his
of your
cheekbones
face.
is up.
Your maxis.
His cheekbones is not up because he's
He said,
his cheekbones is up because he's really tight.
your
His
turn now.
cheekbones are up because he's really
will watch
clear.
the
His
security
cheekbones are up
help
because
when
he's
I
really
can.
mad. You guys have to understand this right here as a man, it should make you feel some type of way. You're not gonna obey me. You're not gonna obey me when I speak. So at the end of the day, what am I here for? And the truth is, a lot of men are just here to pay the bills. That is it. Light bill, check. Hair and nails, check. Pasta, check. Ravioli, check. Oodles and noodles, check. Daycare, check. Vacations, check. Bentley, check. Car, check. Everything is about a check. At the end of the day, when the money slows up and when the check stops, guess what? The love stops. And I'm gonna say this again, when the check stop, when the money stop, the love stop. You guys have to understand, take your time. You should never ever be in a position like this as a man. At the end of the day, you guys have to understand, when it comes to marriage, listen, you don't even have to go through that. You can just tell the female straight up, like, you my wife, and you can stay out of this court system. And capitalism, a lot of this stuff is not about love. A lot of this stuff is about money. That's why when they said for rich or for poor, the lady said for rich or for poorer. She didn't say for poor. She was inhabiting. She was inhabiting. And at the end of the day, that should have been it. The guy should have walked off. He should have been the hero. He should have been on the next talk show. He should have been on the next Good Morning America. You walked off on your feet. You walked off on your future wife because she said that she wouldn't obey you. Yes, he should have made a stand. This could have been tough. This man could have started a t-shirt brand. I'm making a stand. At the end of the day, he could have been bigger than life. But guess what? Instead of being bigger than life, this dude is looking like a
he
clown.
wants some fucking pussy.
Social media platforms, on TikTok, on YouTube,
Damn, bro,
and you
we
gotta ask
tripping
yourself
over this
why,
crap,
because a
man.
lot of men, they call it sassy. If you guys are familiar with sassy women, put a SW in the chat, sassy women. Some guys think a sassy woman is cute. Some guys think a sassy woman is gorgeous. At the end of the day, there's so many beautiful women out here. If a female were to get sassy, guess what? She can get sassy with the next man. If a female were to do whatever she do, she can get busy with the next man. You guys gotta understand, we gotta be on a grind. If we're on a grind and we put in the work, we in a grind and we working these late nights, when we in a grind and we in the zone, we are not in the zone for disrespect. And I'm gonna say this again, we are not in the zone for disrespect. Listen, take your time and understand. If she doesn't like you with $5, she's not gonna like you with 5,000. If she doesn't like you, she's not gonna like you with 5 billion. Let it breathe.
I've been dealing with this issue for the majority of my life. It started in my 20s when I had 7 surgeries on my knees years before I came here. Currently.
Oh, no. Requiem soldiers. How did you get access to the base? I know why you're here. You want the German girl, Maxis. Tell you what, you restore facility power. I'll hand over your spy. Proceed with caution. Do what he asks, then go get Maxis.
It's gonna take all the kills, huh?
Quick and clean. Well, maybe not clean.
Target dropped.
Double points.
charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
Stuck here. Get up. Not dead yet.
Collector taking damage.
Marking waypoint coordinates.
Yes, good. Just need the other two back online and we're in business.
We're in business when we get Max's back. Not before, Peck.
Yeah.
Ether reactor online. Initiating charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
Tango down.
Max ammo.
Enemy destroyed.
Remarkable. A creature camouflaged as common objects. Best keep both eyes open, team.
Collector taking damage. Ether reactor online at the data center.
Max ammo.
EKIA.
Submachine gun equipped.
I will have some fun with this. It is a mean little gun.
Ether reactor online. Initiating charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
Points.
Collector taking damage.
Stuck here. My kill.
Ether reactor online at military command. All ether reactors online. Facility operating at full power.
Weaver, there is a weapons forge at my location. It is now operational. It makes weapons fire bullets that cut like Soviet steel. Your team should use.
Fire sale. Kaboom.
I was starting to think you weren't cut out for it. Come see me when you're ready.
Made for hunting humans. Seems fitting for an unholy safari. You are bushmeat now.
I'll kill you all if I have to.
Double points. I enjoy.
About time we caught up, don't you think? Tick-tock, tick-tock. No more games, Peck. Where are you keeping her? Well, she's not here. I'm conducting a little experiment. How long can a person survive in the dark ether? It's been a few days, so my money's on her being dead already. I could help you bring her back. But why would I do a stupid thing like that? Now, if you'll excuse me, with the power back on, I can finish my data transfer to Omega HQ. Ciao, suckers.
Fucking suka. The Dark Ether is a death sentence. I have seen it break men who survived the Gulag. There are other ways to make back talk. Return to the village.
Goodbye. Shot was good.
What is that?
They cannot even touch me.
Max ammo.
Stun thrown. Need assistance. This will not happen again. Syntax out.
What's your big plan, Ravenoff?
When Omega first sent
No
men
fear in
into
their
the
eyes.
Dark Ether, they came back crazy,
Enemy
telling
appears
stories
carried.
we knew could not be true. To exterminate extract the truth, we created a special serum. This keycard will get you access to the materials needed to make dose. This truth serum will make that bastard Beck tell you anything.
So, find the compounds, make a dose, then we give Peck a taste of his own medicine.
I'm personally not convinced of the effectiveness of truth serums, but there are always exceptions, especially when Ethereum is involved.
What's your assessment, Strauss? Do you think Ravanov's on our side?
I may not share his love for theatrics, but I have been in his position. There is truth in his eyes.
A few less to trouble me. Double points. The light fades from the eyes, but it is not the same. Stuck here. Bonus points. Ha! Jackal claims more victims. Let the vultures fill their bellies. Hostile expired. And to think I get paid for this. Double points.
Flamethrower.
Fire sale.
am surprised Peck did not kill you after he tricked you. Simple solutions are always good for complex problems. But he let you live. So, it has plans for you.
No brain-dead bushmeat gets the better of me.
Probably both.
Scheiße, you idiot! You must be careful!
God splatter. On to the next. Stuck here. They are dead.
An aerosol delivery system. That should get Peck talking.
He was a brilliant scientist, that Peck. Renowned for his research in theoretical physics.
Renowned, revered, maybe even respected. But he threw all that away when he defected to the Russians.
My truth serum? I suppose you think you're clever. Is it even a proper dose? Oh, it might be. Symptom check. Warm tingles, goosebumps.
That announcement
Feeling
was the last thing we heard before the day fell.
Euphoria.
The beast poured into our world.
Which means it's time for...
Get over there, now.
hallucination.
It is done.
Memories.
You must stand your ground. They will try to disable the reactor. You must not let them succeed. Fight.
The meaning
Kill.
of life.
Survive.
To dance.
Air support authorized for use upon request.
Steady now, Martha. You must follow my lead. Ouch. Damn it all, Martha. Watch my toes. I only have the 10. You wore the necklace from your 40th. Bought it at Dahlia's, your favorite.
All right, Peck. You've had your fun. Now, how do we open the portal? Tell us the truth.
The truth. The truth is that you interrupted a lovely waltz with my Martha. The portal, you'll need the codes to restart the quantum mainframe. Dr. Sokolov and Brahms have them.
Spetsnaz would be
To locate
honored
Maxis,
to
you'll
have
need her
you among their
dimensional
ranks.
tracker ID tag. Sabine has
Such
that.
breaches are increasingly common.
Oh,
Be ready for the next one.
They're all dead. Or infected. Head to the data center. There may be something that can help you.
If you were looking for trouble, evidently you found it.
Ah, the memory transfer station. Built to recover memories from dark ether miners transformed by Ethereum.
It is
All
not
you need
murder,
to do
they
is
are
find
already
Sokolov,
dead.
Brahms, and Sabine in their current forms. Trap their essence, collect their memories. Easy peasy.
Tango down. Wait. You should not exist in the first place.
Like Peg said, easy enough. Reactivation codes, tracker ID, open the portal, bring Maxis home.
Let's hope our target will be easy to identify amongst the endless horde.
Double points.
I never waste ammo.
Hostile expired.
Favor my
Another satisfied customer. Bonus points. Careful. Who else among you needs killing? Double points. My kill. Arming C4. Contact down.
Help me, quickly!
Throwing C4 charge. Flamethrower bringing the heat. Eat lead. When the dead have nightmares, they dream of me. You were dead anyway.
Target in range. One less hostile cadaver. Confirming. Flamethrower ready.
Cleared myself some breathing space. Flamethrower going hard. No, you cannot catch the jackal.
Double points. Egg acts like hero now. We can throw him in paradise. If he is lucky, kill him quickly.
Lighting it off.
He thought America was ready. He has no idea. If he is allowed to live, it will come at a price.
Max ammo.
Hard-headed, but not enough. Flamethrower bringing the heat. I will massacre you all.
imminent.
Hold the area. Fight for your life. You may just survive this.
Omega air support authorized for use upon request. Security alert. Dimensional breach at the military command.
Death machine deployed.
Hope that hurt. The mindless make for easy prey.
Chopper inbound for extraction. Get to the LZ.
Flamethrower bringing the heat.
One ready for pickup. Let's go before the Reds shoot us down. LZ is too hot, strike team. Clear me some elbow room down there.
Target drop. They smell worse when they go down.
That's the last one dusted. Commence an extraction. Evac successful. Returning to base.
Outstanding. I'll see you at the landing pad.
Requiem team has reached the designated rendezvous.
Find Agent Maxis. Recover any intel you can from the base. Ravenoff, my team has reached the village. Where are you?
I am in a secured room nearby. First, I will help you infiltrate. Then, you will spill blood.
Someone help me!
Captain, I wish we were talking under better circumstances.
I disagree. There is no better time for Russians to speak than when they must persevere. Take the teleporter to the Omega base. That is where you will find your Maxis.
Now fight like a warrior.
Too close
I
for my
have
tastes.
persevered enough for one day. I will watch and help from here. Go now. Find Maxis.
Lie quiet now.
Max ammo.
Another name on my list of victims. Rotten bush meat is piling up. Ha!
Go boom. Bonus points.
About time, right? Now stay put like good little corpses.
Deal. Double points.
I should have known Maxis was doing Requiem's bidding. Look, I need the power back on. You fix that, you win the big prize. Take a guess what it is. I'll even put a big bow on her head.
Heck, you better have Maxis ready for transport, or there will be consequences.
I enjoy killing live targets.
Watch out!
Throwing stone.
Malleable physiology? Fascinating. I would proceed with caution.
Max ammo.
Bushwhack.
Ether reactor online. Initiating charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
Carpenter.
Fuck you. I am the king of corpse killers.
Double points.
Warning. Ether reactor integrity at 50%. Collector taking damage. Ether reactor online at mission control.
Okay, Peck. We did as you asked. Where is she?
That's one done, but I count 3 reactors. Guess we can confirm now math isn't your strong suit.
Assault rifle. Such a sterile name for what it does. Kaboom!
Ether reactor online. Initiating charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
This is the only way to shut them up. Bonus points. You are pushing it now.
Ether reactor online at the data center. Ether reactor online. Initiating charge sequence. Collector taking damage.
Now that felt like a good kill. EKIA.
Warning. Ether reactor integrity at 50%.
Lightning incendiary. Double points.
forge at my location. It is now operational. It makes weapons fire bullets that cut like Soviet steel. Your team should use.
Hostile down. Keep your distance or suffer the consequences.
How about that?
Firing up flamethrower.
I need a medic.
Firing up flamethrower.
Stuck here.
Enemy destroyed. Flamethrower lit.
Bonus points.
Throwing C4 charge. Appears KIA.
Threat neutralized. That one looked like Uncle Walter. I killed him too. Now stay put like good little corpses. Go kill something. Let's get away. No fear in their eyes. I miss that. Big gun for a big man. And to think I get paid for this. I took a hit!
Make them pay.
Hey, wipe that smile off your face.
There is plenty of intel to recover. Take whatever is not nailed down. You need to gain advantage in this conflict because...
No check.
Shot was good.
Good effect.
Jacko down!
Damn, took a hit.